वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ सहनौ भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Then can you get up and turn on the light? Both the lights. Thank you. Take you electrics. Okay, let's start with 15. Book nikala? Okay, 15, let's start. You ready, Krish?
Yeah.
Okay. Shri Bhagwan Uvacha
Urdhmūlamadashakam Ashvatam Praharavyayam Chandasi yasya parnani Yasya veda savedave Adashchodha prasitastasya shaka Guna prabuddha vishaya pravala Adashamula nanasantadani Karmanubandhini manushaloke Narupamasye tato pralabhyate Nando rajatir najatam pratishta Yashvatamenam surudamulam Asangashastre nidilena chitva Tattvatam tat parimargatavyam Yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuya Tamev shadyam purusham prapadye Yasta pravakti prasita purani Nirvana moha jita sangadosha Adhyatma nitya vinivritta kama Dvande vimukta sukha dukkha samya Gacchanta bhuta padamavyayanta Na tadvasayate suryo na shashanko na pavaka Yadgadvana nivartante taddama paramam mama Mamevamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana Manashashtarindriyani prakriti sadhikarti Shariram yadavnoti yogchaputkramatishvara Prahitvetani samyati Vayurgandhani vashaya Shotram chakshusparshanam cha Rasanam grahameva cha Adhishtaya manaschaya Vishayanupasevate Uttamam tatsam vapi Bhujana vagunamitam Vimurānanupashyanti Pashyanti jnana chakshusha Yatanto yoginaschainam Pashyantyaatmanyavasthitam Yatantopyakutatmano Nenam pashyanti chetasam Yadadityaagatam techo Jagadbhasayate kila Yakchadamasi yakchagno Tattejo vidyamamakam Gama vishyacha bhutani Dharaya gamojasa Pushnani shoshati sarva Somo bhutva rasatmaka Aham Vaishvanaro bhutra Pradinam dehamashvata Pranapanasmayukta Prashaniyam chaturvidham Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto Mata smritirjnanamopohanam cha Vedescha sarvehahmeva vedyo Vedanta kruddeda videva cham Dvayamo purusho loke Sharakshaksha eva cha Shara sarvani bhutani Bhutastha uchate Uttamantam shitam vati
Uttamam purusham उत्तमः पुरुषः परस्त्वयं परमात्मेतु जायते यो लोके त्रयमाविश्य बिभर्तव्य ईश्वरः यस्मात् शरैमतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अतोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रतितः पुरुषोत्तमः यो मामेव सम्मूढो जानाति पुरुषोत्तमं स सर्वविद्यजाति मां सर्वभावेन भारत
दिगूह्यतमं शास्त्रम् इदमुक्तं मया निज एतद्बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् शत्रुतः भारत ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे पुरुषोत्तम योगो नाम पंचदशोऽध्याय। दोनों में कोई ग्लास पानी का दे। What happened in that quote? Okay, so we are in 9th chapter, right? Easy. Goodness. Leave it here. Okay, so we discussed this before. I think Krish read it for us, but I just put it on the board so everybody can write it, right? Everybody can understand the shlok 1 to 10, which we already did so far. It is self pervades the world. So the shlok 1 to 10, the main concept in 1 to 10 shloks were self pervades the world. 11 to 19 is the deluded disregard self, the wise glory and seek self. So that's the difference between deluded and between the deluded people and wise person. So in 4, 5, in this 9, 8, actually 8 shloks, he describes that. 20 to 28 is one attains what they strive for. So one attains what they are talking about or what they are gaining. Then and then 29 to 34 is dedicated efforts lead seekers, even the unrighteous people, for self-realization. So that's the whole chapter summary on this. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody have this in their notes. So when we go and revise the chapter, it's there, right? So that's the 9th chapter summary from 1 to 10. So we already did till 10th. I think we did 12th too, but just we're gonna get a revision a little bit. So 9th chapter. What's the name of the 9th chapter? Rajavidya Rajaguhyam.
Rajvidya Raj Guhyam, which is Raj secret. So it's like a royal secret and royal knowledge. So that's the name of the chapter, Rajvidya Rajguhyam, right? So in 11th shlok, which we already did, it says that ignorant don't know my real nature, and they take me as a lower nature person, like as a human. They don't know me as Bhuta Mahesha, right? So he said they don't know me as the self, right? They take me as a normal human, and they take me as a lower part, the what 2 elements we talk about. So lower element, lower part of the body, mind and intellect, right? So in Taittiriya Upanishad, it has been mentioned that Atma, which we talk about as a consciousness, Atma generates the Akash, which we talk about space, 5 elements, you remember? So Akash, then from Akash, Vayu comes.
So then from Vayu, Agni comes. From Agni, water comes. And from water, earth comes. So that's the how it is produced, right? So consciousness, which is Atma first, and then that produces the Akasha, the space. Then space comes and Vayu is generated. The Vayu is generated and the Vayu generates the Agni part of it, element. Then Nanu, agar problem ho rahi beta muh aankhein dho yaar Raja ek baar. Go wash your eyes. Put some water in your eyes. Otherwise it's going to distract me a lot. So put a lot of water in your eyes. Your eyes are already red a little bit, so put a lot of water. Okay. So then from Vayu, Agni comes, and Agni, then the water comes from Agni, and then the last thing, earth comes from the water. So that's how the whole elements are formed, right? So but the generator is, where it comes from is Atma, it's the consciousness, and those 5 elements. But what happened is, the people who are deluded, who don't know much about it, what they do is, they actually take that 5 lower element as they take the all, like everything is those 5 lower element, right? And they disregard the Atma, the first, that is generator, right? So that's what happened when we when people who are ignorant, that's what they do. So you know what happens is, there is a story, and this example is being used in Vedanta for ages. Shankaracharya used it, and many other saints used it. So what happens is, a guy is walking in a dark night, in the light of moon. When he was walking by, he sees something on the middle of the street, right? So when he sees that, he looks at it and he gets scared. It's snake there, right? So he's like, there is a snake, I cannot go, and goes and hide behind the trees, right? So now what happens, a guy who lives there, like this guy doesn't live there in this area, but the guy who lives in this area, he was walking by, and then he was walking by without any he was not frightened, he was not scared, and he was walking by. So this other guy who was hiding behind the bush asked him that, how can you walk by? There is a snake there, right in the middle of this middle of the street, and it's going to bite you. I cannot, how are you walking by there? And then he says that this is not the area where snakes come. I have lived here for many years and there is no snake here. So let's go and check, it's not a snake there. So when they go and walk by, now this guys hold the other guy's hand and walk by, because he is not frightened now, because the guy says it's not a snake, right? So he trusted this guy and started walking towards the snake which he was frightened of. So when they go and they see it, then they see that it's a part of a rope that was in the middle of the street. So it was not a snake, it was a rope, right? So for this realization of not, so what happens is, when we come with this mindset that this world, like how the guy thought that this is a snake, we think that this world is the world that is true. That's what it is. This is the world, only world, and everything here is the thing that we are here to do it. This we are here to come here and do all these worldly things. That's what we think, right? Then what happened is, somebody who knows that this is not true comes in our life and explains us that this is not, all these 5 elements are lower energy. There is a higher energy, there is Atman, there is consciousness, there is a God, there is Lord above all these. Then what happens is, we don't, we haven't seen the God, we don't see the consciousness, we don't know anything about it. But what we do is, if we have faith in this guy, if he's saying the truth, if he has experienced that, like that guy lived here for ages and he said, I lived here, I haven't seen snake once in my entire life. what happened? The other guy held his hand and started walking with fearlessly, right? So that's what happens with us. Then somebody who is very knowledgeable, who been there, who has done this, who has seen that the world is mithya and consciousness is what it is, or the Lord what it is, like who created this world. There is a God who tells us. And then what happens on the base of faith and on the base of this trust, we start thinking about that this is what it is. And then when we go and see that it is not a snake, it is a rope, so it's the world is not real, it's all consciousness, or it's all Lord who created that, that's the supreme power, and we get to know that, then what happens is all the fears goes away. We start believing in that thing, and we ourselves realize that it's not a snake, it's a rope, right? We ourselves see it. So with the help of this person, we get fearless and we start believing in that, and we start realizing it, and eventually we realize that, right? So that's what happens. So now he's saying that ignorant one, the person who doesn't know this, what happened to that person? That only believes in the higher, lower energy, and they believe in this 5 elements and other ego, memory, and all those things that we talk about. They believe in this 5 lower energy. They don't go and look at the upper energy. But then we need somebody to show us that that's what it is, right? As soon as we believe, if we get the faith in it, if we get the trust in it, then we start believing it. And when we go to that path, then we can also realize ourselves, right? So that's what he mentioned in 11th shlok. And then what he said, then he says, what happened? What is the result of this ignorance? What happened to these ignorant people who don't believe in this? So he mentioned that then their hopes, their actions, their efforts, and the knowledge became vain. So all these things become waste now, right? The people who do not get into this higher energy of God, do not get to the higher level of this Atman and consciousness, do not realize that, or do not get to that point where either you are devoted to God, or you know the knowledge, or you do meditation, or you get into this part of spirituality. What happened? They stay at the lower energy. And what happened when you stay at the lower level? Then all your knowledge, your efforts, and your hopes, all of them wasted, become vain, right? I remember the time I hear Swami Chinmayanandaji, and he mentioned a story that, how can a knowledge be waste, right? We say that education can never go to waste, right? That's what we all believe. Like if you study, anything that you study, right, they never can get to waste, no matter what. But then I remember his story, and I really connect to it, this story that Swami Chinmayanandaji said about this shlok especially. And he mentioned that, he said, I can understand hope can go waste. I can understand your efforts can go waste. But how can your knowledge, if you have something knowledge, how can that go waste? If you have knowledge of science, or if you have knowledge of Spanish, or if you have knowledge of English, how can it go waste? It cannot go waste, right? You got this knowledge and you improve yourself in that knowledge. So he said one time he was traveling, and all the bhaktas says, this is a big scientist who is in the town and who got the a big award, Bharat Ratna or something, big award on his research that he got it, and now he is on deathbed, and it's going to be very good if you can give him blessings. Like if this is Swami, is a big Swami, right? So he said, can you please come and give him blessing? So Swami Chinmayanandaji went to him. He didn't even know anything, but he just went there. He didn't know, and by the time he reached there, he also forgot his name. Who was he? He didn't have much learning about this person, or what experiment or what research he did. He didn't know about it. So when he went in there, he couldn't say, oh, nice to meet you, right? Because he is in deathbed. How can you say, oh, it's very nice, so nice? He couldn't say anything like that. The only thing he remembered that he did a lot of research and he got good awards and stuff like that. So then he said, oh, you did such a big research and you are being awarded with this, so it's very good. I got to know you are a big person, big scientist. So the only thing that guy could say was, don't say me that, don't say me that. And he couldn't say anything, but he did that, don't say me. So one of their relative pulled Swamiji back and said, don't talk about his research. So he couldn't say anything else that he would remember. So he just blessed him and he came out of the room. And when he came out of the room, he said, hey, to that relative, why did you ask me not to say anything? Because, he did research, he got an award. I wanted to only talk about that. I didn't know anything other than that. So he said, no, don't talk about his award, because in 1935, he did this research and his paper got published and he was really big researcher in this thing. In 1945, all his research were researched, somebody else researched on it and made that all what he did, he missed a lot of consideration, and his all research is wrong based on the new research that came out, right? So what Swami Chinmayanandji says, that day he realized how knowledge can be wasted too, because the knowledge keep changing, right? It keep changing. Now what you are studying, I don't think so. And the way now things are going with AI and all those things, you would not even know what's going to be 10 years later. What knowledge would be important 10 years later in this world, right? It could be keep changing. So the research would be so fast changing that whatever yesterday you researched, 5 years later, it would be researched and said it's wrong, right? The earth was researched first as a flat surface, and then it came back and said, no, it's a sphere, right? Then so many planets came in place, like not just this Milky Way, then there are like 10,000 different Milky Ways came up. So there is so many things that keep changing. So knowledge cannot be also worldly knowledge. All this worldly knowledge can be wasted. Why? Because can be wasted because it's going to keep changing, right? So here it says that when these guys, first of all, that all these knowledge, that hope, and then what happens is their Asuri means the demonic nature starts coming out for these guys, right? And later in Gita itself, God talks about 3 different nature. One is Devic nature, which gonna be like related to sattvic energy. Then there is Rakshashi nature, which is Rajasic, influenced by Rajasic Guna, which is like all the desire, arrogance, greed, all these things. Then it is Asuri. Asuri is dominated by the Tamasic nature. So Asuri is Tamasic nature, which is violence and then dullness and all those things. So there are 3 kind of different nature, which in later chapter, I think in 16 or 15 it will, not 15, 16 or 17 it will come. There are 3 different kind of natures that are. So Devic, which is influenced by Sattvic Guna. Then Rakshashi nature, which is influenced by Rajasic Guna, and again it's greed, arrogance, all those things comes in there. And then there is a Asuri nature, which is influenced by Tamasic nature, right? Tamasic Guna. So those are, so they will say, what's wrong in this worldly knowledge, right? All these worldly knowledge will go to waste at one point of the time, right? All these worldly knowledge will come to the waste. That's what God says. When you are ignorant of your real self, when you know your real self, what happens? All these knowledge will come to place where you will understand what your real self is, and then you will do it. Then it's different. But when you don't know your real self and you go behind them, then one day what's going to happen is everything will go to end and go to waste, right? So that's what he's mentioning on this. Now on the 12th one that we talk about, 12th or 13th one, Mahatma, 13th one, right? Did we already read 13? No.
Well, we read it, but we didn't.
Read it, okay. So in 13th he says, now contrary to what we said before, right? So contrary to this, now he's talking about the wise people, right? So we talk about the deluded who disagree with self. Now we are talking about the wise people. So what he says that in contrary, who are spiritual people, he says the great souled one, Mahatma, they have divine nature. They worship me with one-pointed devotion, knowing me to be the cause of all beings and immutable. Right? So Mahatma, here he says Mahatma. Mahatma means Mahan means vast. And then Atma means self. So vast self. The person who understands that he is not this little tiny bitty self, this person is vast self. So there is a vastness to when he takes everybody as one, that person he's talking about. That's Mahatma, right? So that Mahatma, when he doesn't realize that I'm this little self, he realizes this whole entire world is the self. That person realizing in vast and what's going on? So deep oneness in all, that is the one that understands this. So now what happened is
Mahatma, yeah.
Don't get distracted. Don't get me distracted. You can get distracted. Okay, where was that? 13th.
We're talking about the great souls and how
So great souls, what they do is they knowing me, right? So they know the self, and then what happens is they source of all being. They understands that I am the source of all me, right? Now what we need to understand this thing. When you talk about, there are two ways of thinking about creation of this universe. The one way is there is a, like let's say pot and clay. When we make pot, there what does somebody needs?
clay.
A clay, and also a potter who makes the clay, who mixes the clay, right? So you can think in the creation as there is a creator and there is a material, and that material cause gives the effect, that is pot. So the clay is the cause, the potter is the creator, and the pot is created, so effect is there. So there is a cause, there is a effect, and there is a creator for the cause, or maker of the cause and create the effects, right? You got that? So one can say that God is there who creates this with all this material, all these 5 lower elements. He makes the entire universe, right? You understand that?
Yeah.
So that's one kind. The other part,
Wait.
the other thing is what? The material cause and the creator, they both are same, right? So Lord is material cause as well as creator.
What's the example?
Then that's
The example.
the way when
Yeah.
God. So then what happens is the same material cause is making the pot. So what happens is if we say oneness, then it comes so then first example, when the creator is there who makes the pot, is Dvait, right? So the creator is separate, there is a material cause and there is a effect of it, right? Then the second part is when material cause and the creator are the same, and then there is a part that is created, right? So that is universe that is created. So in Mandukya Upanishad, the shlok explains, in Mandukya Upanishad it's very well explained, that the spider, right? So when the spider creates a web, the web comes out of spider's body, right? The same way universe is created by the creator, by the Lord, which the material comes out of the same creator. You got that point? Right? So what you were saying, the wave and the thing, there is another example. So the spider makes the web, which the web comes out of the spider's body. Nobody else creates the web, right? The spider himself creates the web out of him. The same way the universe comes out of the Lord, created by this material that he used from his body. Got that point? So that's how one philosophy talks about it, right? Then, is it painful? Does God has to do a lot of work when he creates the universe? Does he have to do a lot of work? So then the second shloka of Mandukya Upanishad explains the second part of it, that how on the earth, when a herb or tree or shrubs comes out without any work that earth does, right? So it comes out by itself. If you go in the jungle and you see, okay, so many grass and shrubs, and they comes out. Even in rainy season, we look around and we see,
growing? Is the tree not like doing work?
But does earth does the work?
Come on. You don't say
Does the earth do any work to the tree coming out? Right?
Doesn't the tree do work on the earth though?
Yeah, so I'm talking about creator, right? So the God, when we are talking about God, then the earth, the second slok which he was saying, first example was spider example that he gave. Then second example he said how earth is non-living, right? Out of non-living, the living organism comes out. Earth doesn't do any work, but they come out, right? So that's how the universe comes out,
so God
without any work that is done, not any efforts that are being given. The other thing that he explained in the second line, and in the, listen this second one too, that how the nails and the hair grows in on the body also. It doesn't do any effort or any, like we don't put any efforts in it, right? It comes out by itself, right? The nails grow by itself, right? We don't pull the nail, or it doesn't hurt when it comes out. It comes out by itself. That's how he explained the universe comes out from the God, right? So that's how he explained. So in this philosophy, the intelligent cause as well as the creator are same. There's no difference in them, right? So that's the two way to think about it. So that's again differentiate between Advait and Dvait, right? Dvait, then there is two people, two things. Advait, there is one and only one who creates everything, that is created by everything, right? So that's how it explains that. That's what we explain in that. There is one more thing in the... Okay. So, the 13th was, on the other hand, Arjuna, great souls who are imbued with the divine nature, knowing me as a prime source of all beings and the imperishable eternal, worship me constantly with one pointedness of the mind. Now, what do they do? Like all these souls that are, divine souls or the wise people, what do they do? So here is the thing what he says. What do? They constantly, one pointedness of their mind, they worship me. Constantly worship me. Right? So,
Isn't that the next one?
No, this is 13th.
Like 14 talks about what they do.
But he will explain more, bigger picture, right? So he said, what do? They worship me, and he lives there, right? But again, there is two things that you have to understand that. Bhajanti means worship, right? Then Anyatya. Anyatva means no, not any other else, right? Bhajanti means not anything else. And then it's a manaso, right? Which is Bhajanti worship come from love and devotion, right? So he is saying worshipping me with love and devotion, those people are the one that is Mahatma, right? Got that point now? So he explained both of them, people who don't believe and people who do believe in this and understand, and yeah, so that's what he is saying. Now next come what are the practices, right? So in Gita the best part is it gives you theory, right? It tells you like, okay, this is the theory, this is the philosophy, but then at the same time, as soon as Krishna Bhagavan says this, next thing he says how to practice it, what to do. So he also talks about the practicality of that nature, how you can do it. So he talks about the theory, hey, you have to be this, you have to be Mahatma, you have to be not the deluded person, you cannot be that kind of person. Now what to do, right? So he explains the process also, the procedure also, what to do. So next slok, he talks about the process. Okay. Who is going to take slok 40?
Sean, you just said he wants to read.
Okay.
That's why that's written.
Satatam kirtayanto mam
Satatam kirtayanto mam
yatantascha dadavrataha
yatantascha dhrudavrata
namasyantascha mam bhaktya
namasyantasya nam bhaktya
nityayukta upasate.
nityayukta upasate. Together. Satatam kirtayanto mam
yatantascha dadavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate.
Can you do the words?
Satatam, always, kirtayanta, chanting, mam, about me, yatanta, fully endeavoring, cha, also, dadavrataha, with determination, namasyanta, offering obeisances, cha, and ma, me, bhaktya, in devotion, nityayukta, perpetually engaged, upasate, worship.
Okay. So always chanting my name and glories and striving for my realization and glory again and bowing again and again to me. Always steadfast and worship me. Right? So he talks about always doing worship me. When do you worship? Once a week? Come to Gita class? That's what he's talking about? Always, Nitya-yukta, always, every time, right? So when he's talking about chanting always, Nitya-yukta, can you always chant?
You have to be engaged while chanting.
But why you have to be engaged while chanting, but can you be engaged while chanting all 24/7, 365
Just
days?
when you're available.
No, but okay, so I'm only available on Sundays. Is that the only one?
Came up on Sunday.
You have to.
What is he
Something
talking
came up
here?
for you to do on Sunday, so you
Does he
weren't
asking again? Think about entire Gita and think about, will God say that you only chant my glories all the time 24/7? Is that what he would be asking here? Think about it. What would he try to say with your own knowledge? Would he think, is he saying that, okay, chant my name 24/7 and that's the only thing you should be doing? Then what happened in the third chapter? Where will the third chapter go? When he will say, do your duties. Is your duty only going to be chanting?
Yeah.
Definitely for saint, yeah, that's their duty. But what about your householder duties? Right? Do you have to stop studying and just chant the God's name? Is that what he's saying, guiding you? And tell his glories? It cannot be that, right? So there is a deeper meaning to it. We need to understand that part, right? It's not just chanting every kirtan is not like, he's saying that It's a faculty of speech that he's talking about, chanting, right? Chanting his name, worshipping him, glorifying him, right? Now what it is, like, is chanting every day is not possible. Every single minute is not possible. When you chant, you should chant as much as you can, right? As much as you can chant, you can. But God is not sitting there to hear his glory and then he will be happy. Do you think God is that little that if you say, oh, you are so good, you are so good, you are so good, and he will be, yeah, this guy is so good, he's talking about me, so he's telling me, he's praising me all time, and so he's the best person in the world. That's not, God is not that little, right? Glory, singing glory of God is good for us, right? When we talk about that we want to be like him, or we want to be like him, then what happens is when we chant those glories of him, we actually prepare ourselves to become like him, right? That's what the glory singing do to us, right? We do glory singing for us, not for him. It doesn't matter to him if you sing glory. If you don't sing glory, it doesn't matter to him at all, right? It doesn't matter to him. When you do your things, when you do it matters that what attitude do you appear yourself, you do, which reflects his glory in your life. That's what he's looking for. Your deeds should reflect his glory in your actions. You understand that? This is a big thing you guys have to understand really well, because you will be a point when somebody will come in front of you and say that, no, if you are not doing this, you are not the bhakta, you are not a spiritual person. There are a lot of philosophy where it says if you are not chanting the name this many times in a day, you are not on spiritual path, right? But I want you to make sure that you understand that's not wrong. You should be chanting, that's good. You should be talking about glory, but why we say those glories of God? Why we chant? And when we are not chanting, what is God looking into it? God is not looking at, hey, you did not chant my name that many times, so you are a bad person. That's not God looks at it, right? So it is more, let your life being projected his glory. That's what he's looking for, right?
Wait, you saying let your what?
Let your life project
his glory.
His glories. That's what he's talking about here, right? And it's Satatam Kirtan, right? That's what he's saying, Satatam Kirtan. Every time, Kirtan means, chanting. So every time chanting, how does you do it? In every action of yours, in everything that you do, every deed you do, if you can project his glory, that's what it means, Satatam Kirtan, right? So as a householder, we talk about it in Karma Yoga so many times, like, right? Any action that we do, right? It should be like, oh, I'm doing it for God, right? I'm doing this for God, or this is devoted to God, or I'm dedicating this to God. Will you do anything wrong? There is no way you can do anything wrong if you keep that attitude in your mind, that this action I'm doing is devoted to God, right? So your life should reflect his glory. That's why we sing his glories. Yeah.
If you do a bad action, can you devote it to God?
How will you devote to God? Will you not feel, okay, how I'm doing this wrong
it
thing?
can be bad in other people's point of view, but it's good in your own.
And is it good for the God? Think about that. It's not about who's it good for. It could be good for your friend, or it could be good for you. But if it is not good for God, then it's not good, right? Then it's not good. It doesn't matter if it is good for God, the other person, or it's good for me, right? So think about that, right? You have to keep that in mind. Okay? So anything that you can share so we all can laugh?
No.
Okay. So then don't talk here. Then talk after the class. Okay. So if we can spread the fragrance of God around us, that's what God glory means, right? So that's what we have to think about it. That's what God is emphasizing on this. Bhajanti, Anyan, Manaso, and then and doing Satatam Kirtan. Right? So every time, whatever you do it for God. Yeah.
No.
Nothing. I thought you were saying something. Okay, let's do slok number 15. Neha, you want to do 15?
Sure, let me pull it up.
Sure.
Jnanayagnyena chapyanye
Jnanayagnyena chapanye
yajanto mam upashate
Yajanto mam upasate
ekatvena pritatvena
ekatvena pratatvena
bahuda vishvato mukham
bahuda vishvato mukham. Together. Jnanayagnena chapyamye yajanto mam upasate ekatvena pratatvena bahuda vishvato mukham.
Jnana Yagnena, by cultivation of knowledge. Ja, also. Api, certainly. Anye, others. Yajanta, sacrificing. Ma, me. Upasate, worship. Ekatrena, in oneness. Pratatrena, in duality. Bahuda, in diversity. Vishvata Mukham, and in the universal form.
Okay. So here he says, now question comes like, how can I consider what is Lord? What should I consider Lord as? Right? So now he is giving an example like what kind of Lord you should consider. Right? So who is God? Like a simple question is there. So then he says, others who follow the path of knowledge, so that's one, betake themselves to me through yagna of knowledge, worshipping me in my absolute formless aspect as one of themselves, while still other worship me in my universal form in many ways, take me to be diverse in manifold celestial forms. So some takes me as an absolute reality and they worship me with the knowledge, doing yagnas, Agni yagnas and everything, and then the other takes my universal form and then they take me as a this diverse kind of forms, right? So Krishna, Rama, Vishnu, Shiva, all these different kind of forms. So one take me as one form, as consciousness, Advait, and then the second takes me so many different kind of forms, and then they worship me that way, right? So he is talking about Dvait and Advait both. You can take in any different forms. It does not matter to him, right? You can consider him as this or as that. It doesn't matter. Like some people will say that I want to merge in God, right? I want to merge in God. Yeah, that's fine too. Some says I don't want to merge in God. I want to stay away, separate from God, and I want to enjoy the connection with Lord. I want to enjoy the enjoy the relationship of God and me, right? Then they go to Advait, right? They go to Dvait and they enjoy that, right? So when it says that some people says I want to be a sugar, right? So that's I want to be a sugar, but some says no, I don't want to be a sugar, I want to enjoy sugar, right? So I want to be separate from sugar, so I want to be separate from God, and I want to enjoy the glory, the leelas of God, right? All these ras of God, I want to enjoy that, so I want to be separate from God. So God is saying that you can take me as a universal form and be separate with me, and I enjoy my leelas, right? Enjoy my giving. If you are ready to worship God, give God bath, give them good dresses, and make them ready, then give them food and say, God, eat the food, and do all those things, all those rituals, all those things, and then you enjoy God and your relationship like that, right? So that's okay too. Or you get the knowledge and say, what is the consciousness, what is real, what is self, what is where does the mind come from, what is that? Then you enjoy that part, right? So whatever way you want to enjoy, it does not matter to God, right? You can go anywhere, right? But I will tell you one thing, again, this is my personal experience, that's why I put some things in here. When you worship God, when you have this devotion to God, and you only do the devotion part, then it becomes a little bit more only kind of emotional thing. But when you get some knowledge and then you worship God, your worship changes a lot. Your worship changes with knowledge. Then you start worshiping God. Then you worship with, I would say, your worship get deepened. But when you just have one, just worshiping it, so what happens is the sweetness comes. When you only have knowledge, right? When you only go knowledge, it makes you dry. That's what it says. When you have Advait, that everything is consciousness, there is nothing, there's no, then it doesn't become that there is no God, nothing, it becomes all consciousness. Then what happens is, all these things, then dryness comes, right? But when you only do devotion, then fanaticism and all those things comes in it, right? But when you merge knowledge and devotion, then the sweetness come in your devotion. So it's really nice to have lot of things, the meditation, the knowledge, the devotion, all this thing merged together, and then I think the worship becomes full. It's like more about, I would say, harmony of, Vivekananda Swami said, harmony of all yogas is the best way to do it, right? So having harmony of most. But again, whatever you are, whatever you want to do, it depends on your, the mental mood, the qualities that you have, the temperament you have. Depending on that, you decide which path you want to take, right? So God doesn't say prefer anything. He says some does this way, some does that way. Yeah.
Can you do both?
Yeah, you should do both.
Sean said it was a dumb question.
No, but you should. That's what I'm explaining
obvious,
here,
bro.
right?
You can merge all. She said, put the knowledge and devotion together and the meditation together.
It's so obvious.
Yeah, you put all three together and have the harmony of all four yogas. That's what Vivekananda Swami says. That's gonna give you lead to realization. But here is the thing. One thing it's very important for all. For us who are just stepping our feet in spiritual life, just making our feet wet a little bit, we need to understand that it's very easy to fall into saying, oh, I got the knowledge. It's very easy to say that. Oh, I know more, I got it, this is what it is. It's very easy to fall into that, but that's not it. It's just superficial thing, we got it, right? When we go more deeper and deeper, then it's not realization yet, right? It's just getting, like how you are reading the chemistry chapter, unit 1, that's what it is, what we are doing here. Nothing other than that, right? But spirituality doesn't come until we start realizing it by ourselves, and all our action starts projecting that, right? So it has to project those things. If it is not projecting, then we are just putting our feet in the pool and just making them wet and not going inside the pool, right? So that's what it is for us right now. That's what it is. So he says that ekatvena or pratyaktena. So if you are taking, people take like, okay, I want to go to the knowledge side, they go to the knowledge side. If they say, oh, I want to do this, I want to build a relationship between God and me, then they go to Dvait side. Then some people think that, oh, I see God in every single person, and these poor are the one that I need to help them, right? If they take God as suffering, like people who are suffer, I need to help them out. Hey guys, don't do that. You distract me, please. So then what they do this social work. They help these poor, right? And they go with that. That's also again a spiritual path. That is also a spiritual path. Going and helping people. Again, that's what it is. That's what it is. Whichever path you take. Again, that's karma yoga, right? We say that, hey, doing a selfless work for others, right? Even if that's what you feel like, that's what your mindset is, that's what your temperament is, then go with that. That's also a spiritual path, right? So whatever attitude that you go with, right? God says that's good. Just do it. Start it. Just go on that path. That's what he's saying. Doesn't matter which path you take, but just take that path, right? Start from somewhere. And that's what he's saying. Okay. We have still more time, Nilba? Nobody has to watch. Okay, let's go to slok number 16.
It's 5.
Huh?
It's 5. It's 6.
It's 6 o'clock.
It's 6, 5:50.
Okay, let's read one more slok. Krish, read the slok and then slok number 16. No, we did the 15. 16.
Aham kratur aham yagna
Aham kratur aham yagna
Swadaha Swadahamahamausadam
Swada aham osadam
Mantroham ahamevajam
Mantroham amevajam
Aham agnir aham hutam
Aham agnir aham hutam. Aham means me. So every word has aham in front of it or in the back of it. So together.
Aham kratur aham yagna swadaham ahamausadam mantroham ahamevajam aham agnir aham hutam. Aham I Krita Vedic ritual. Aham I Yagna Smriti sacrifice. Swada oblation. Aham I Osadam healing herb. Mantra transcendental chant. Aham I Ava certainly. Ajam melted butter. Aham I Agni fire. Aham I Hutam offering.
Okay. So now he is saying that all these ritual, that he is just giving an example of one kind of ritual, but he's saying this all thing in this ritual is I. So I am the Vedic ritual, right? Aham Krutar. Aham Yagna. So all these fire sacrifice, I am this fire sacrifice. Aham, then Swada Aham. So all this offering that I'm giving, it's I, right? Then I am the herbage and food grains. So all these offering, all the grains that we are giving, it's me. All these sacred mantras that we're chanting for the fire yagna is me. I am the butter, the ghee that we are offering in the yagna, that's me. The sacred fire, that's me. And I am verily the act of offering obligation into the fire. So act of offering is also him. You remember the similar kind of slok before we studied? What was it? Exactly the same kind of slok. What was it? I can tell you.
In like chapter 6 or something.
Chapter
4. It was like I am the fire. I am.
हाँ
It
वो
was
था
like
पर हम
Brahman
नहीं
is fire,
ऐसा
Brahman is
Oh,
हाँ।
Brahma, Brahma.
ब्रह्म वेद ब्रह्म
Brahman is like all the different parts of the
the
Yagna.
same thing, yeah. So
So
yeah,
instead of saying I am, you're saying Brahman is.
huh. Now here is saying I am. So now he's get to. We are actually look at that how the slok changed too, because before he was teaching, now he is saying I am that self, right? He is bringing that as I am that self, and I am doing this. I am all this, right? So he now, before he was a teacher, now he is a person who has all self-realized himself, right? Now he is saying, I am that thing, right? So he is saying everything is Brahman. So we will continue from stroke 16 going forward. Okay, let's close it. Vasudeva
Sutam Devam Kam Sacharunamardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagatguru Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Krishna Arpanamastu. Okay guys, thank you.